In this episode, I want to talk about suicide. Bit of a dodgy subject, but not how you're thinking. Let's see. Hi guys, back again. It's been a while, I know. Changing things around here, as you can see, kind of working on a set. It takes f***ing ages, I tell you, to work out exactly what to do. But we're here, we're back again. Again, it should be from now on, as I said yesterday on Facebook, back doing daily. Still got some things to iron out, but in the end I thought, f*** it. Rather than just fluff around and spend time doing that, let's just get on with the meat and gravy, and get on with it.
Oh yeah.
So, firstly, big thank you, big shout out to the lovely Gemma Stone.
What?
For all the inspiration. Amazing.
That's really interesting.
Back to where we are. Suicide. So it's quite an emotive subject, and I don't talk about it lightly because you may be affected by it, you may have been affected by it, or you may be going through some at the moment, and it could be a poignant subject. But it's something that I feel I want to and need to talk about because often it's kind of avoided, to be honest. It's a difficult subject to broach in conversation with anyone, particularly friends and family. It evokes so much emotion around it, and generally if you do start to speak about that, people just don't know how to handle it. Either there's the oh no, you know, don't, or there's the no, don't be stupid, you've got everything to live for, etc, and anywhere in between that. It's a huge subject. Now I want to speak about it, but maybe not in the way you're expecting.
I don't know.
From personal experience, it's something that if you do get into the situation where that's something you are considering, then you know lots of things have happened and you've got to that point and said, I'm not making light of it, I'm not bringing up this subject in any way, shape or form, in a comedy way or anything like that, even though I do approach things in a kind of light-hearted way. But where I think it's important to speak about this subject is not in the fact of doing it or considering doing it, but more so, and this is something that I have, and to a degree still do have, this particular feeling towards it. And it's weirdly guilt, almost imposter syndrome. Now I know that doesn't make any sense, so let me explain. Having those thoughts and getting to that point and then not actually doing anything about it, whilst obviously it's a good thing that I didn't and haven't, I can't help but have a feeling of, to a degree, guilt for not doing it, and also kind of imposter syndrome for not doing it. Because when I've spoken about how bad things have been and where I've kind of got to that dark place, oddly I feel almost like a fraud for not doing it. And I know that sounds properly ridiculous and mental, as I deem everything, obviously it's mental. But it's hard to describe this feeling. So, you know, if you have had a similar feeling or know what I'm talking about, please hit a comment below, or reach out to me on the many places I'm around the internet, because it's a hard one to explain. And because I'm openly talking about mental health issues and suicide and all that sort of stuff, it almost makes me feel, yeah, like I'm an imposter and that I don't know what I'm talking about because I didn't do it. But obviously if I did, then I wouldn't be talking about it. So that's what I mean, it makes no real sense. But it's this sort of almost feeling of, I said, and it's making me quite emotional now, almost of sort of guilt for not having done it, because of how I've sort of built it up. And I know it was after the fact, but I know it makes no sense, and it's just ridiculous when you think about it logically. But I think it's one of those things you probably can't think about logically because there's no real logic to it. It's more of an emotional thing, but it's a weird thing. And it's, whilst I want to talk about this and other mental health issues, there's also that kind of thing that's not holding me back, but sort of stopping me thinking that I'm like some sort of fraud because I didn't go that far, which I said makes no sense. And I know this is a bit rambly, but I've no other way of really describing this and explaining it, because it's a bizarre thought process. And you know, I'm in a good place at the moment, and I was checked on today because perhaps I was being a bit overly good. That's me. Lots of jazz hands. But it's a weird one to describe because, yeah, when I am in a kind of good place like now, and I almost feel even more of a fraud or even more of an imposter and guilty that I perhaps was like that, and then sort of I'm not anymore.
It's just one of the worst things you can do to yourself.
Because it makes, I don't know, it makes me feel perhaps that it was all like not made up. It wasn't made up, trust me, it wasn't made up, really. Because I'm not there now, perhaps I feel like a fraud or imposter to myself, which makes, again, even less sense.
What is going on?
So, you know, if you were hoping for some sense for this video, really, it's not happening. But it's a bizarre one, and there's no way to explain it, but it's such a weird feeling. But I wanted to share that in case any of you have been or are in that situation, and hopefully, I say hopefully didn't, because if you did, then you wouldn't be watching. Sorry to make light of it, but if anyone can make light of it, I can. Yeah, it's kind of, you know, if you've been in that situation and you've got this weird kind of, not guilt for stuff that's happened and things like that, but sort of feel a bit fraudulent for, you know, not doing that thing. And now you're here, and you know, it's such a tough mindset, I tell you, completely mental. But yeah, I just wanted to share that because it's a weird one, and just to sort of let you know, if you do have that sort of thought process, and maybe you don't shout about it loudly as I do to anyone, let alone social media, and if you've kind of got to that place and then haven't done something, you know, thankfully, but then afterwards have got this similar sort of feeling, I just want you to know that, you know, you're not alone. You know, there are others, well, at least one, that kind of feels that way and can't really make sense of that feeling because it makes no sense. But, you know, if there's at least one other person, maybe you, then, you know, it's normal? Who knows? Maybe not normal, but at least you're not alone. And they say that means then I'm not alone, and maybe I'm more normal. Shit, if I'm normal, Christ, the whole world's anyway. But thanks for watching this episode. That's all I kind of got to today. It's kind of sort of a weird one, a bit rambly, but I just wanted to share that feeling because it's an odd one that's not really spoken about. I've not heard it spoken about, and it's something that's it's so weird, and I've had that feeling a few times in my life, and yeah, it's almost, yeah, there's no way to describe it. So if you have had similar feelings, or you know someone who's had some similar feelings, stick a comment below, because I'd love to hear and know if there are any other people like that, like me. And if you did get some value from this, or you might know someone who got some, or you might know someone who could get some value from this, share it to them and slap a like on that blue button. If you know someone who might get some value from this, share it with them, and don't forget to hit that like button so it's nice and blue. And I thank you again for all of you that have subscribed. Continue to share this with me. It's taken a bit of a Hawaiian dance along the way, but hopefully we're getting there. Hopefully we're getting a bit more of a solid, sort of succinct. I can't even speak today because it's so hot. I don't know why I'm looking over there, it's so hot, it's just hot. And what helps it being hot is put lights on, even better. But thank you again, and I'll see you guys, I will say tomorrow, but just in case it's not tomorrow, soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks again for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do so down here, and check out my other video down here. And remember, live your best life. See you next time. Bye-bye.